A very good morning to all of you. This is Abhilasha, your political science teacher. Today we are going to continue our chapter 10 of your book, and your chapter name is Development. In our last class, we have discussed about the meaning of development. Today we are going to continue with the challenges of development. What do you mean by the term development? I already told you development, it means improvement, progress, well-being, standardization, etc. Aspirations for a better life, growth in the physical, social, economical life. This is known as development. So, what are the major challenges faced by the developing democracies, or you can say countries, in terms of development? Because as we had seen in the introductory part, that development for everyone is different. Development, it for one, it anything, any policy or anything, any project. For one, it may be the development, or might, or it is also possible for the second one. Might be it might be not the sign of development, but it will be the sign of decrement. Okay, so what are the major challenges faced by the democratic countries? Okay, the challenges of development. So the concept of development gained importance after the second half of the 20th century. This was the time when a large number of countries in Asia and Africa gained political independence. Okay, as you all know, we got our independence in the year 1947. So just like that, most of the countries of Asia and Africa gained their independence in the 20th century, mid 20th centuries, or in the 20th century. So they gained the political independence after that. Obviously, before that, they were the slaves of the colonial rule, or you can say the other countries. But now they have, Asia and Africa have their political independence. Most were impoverished. Okay, बहुत ज़्यादा poor थे, ठीक है, and their population had a low standard of living. Education, health, and other facilities were poor. They were often described as underdevelopment for developing. The comparison was with the richer countries in Western Europe and the United States. Now, most of the developing countries, or most of the countries after their independence, they were impoverished. Okay, their population had a very low standard of living. They don't have good education. They didn't have good education facilities, health facilities, or basic amenity, or basic facilities. Okay, and why they were so poor, and they have like very little standard of living, or they have no access to education, because of you can say that because of the resources, unavailability of the resources. Okay, and if we whenever we compare which country is developing, or which country is underdeveloped, or which country is poor or rich, we compare it with the richer countries. Okay, like here also, they were often described as, most of the Asian and African countries were compared with the richer countries. Okay, countries of Western Europe and United States, and according to that countries, according to their comparisons, these countries were underdeveloped or developing, considered as underdeveloped or developing. Okay, so in the 1950s and the 1960s, when most countries of Asia and Africa had achieved independence from colonial rule, the most urgent task in front of them was to solve the pressing problems of the poverty, malnourishment, unemployment, illiteracy, and the lack of basic amenities that a majority of their population faced. Okay, so for the so for the political parties, after achieving independence from the colonial rule, whoever was the political party, what was the main task for them, urgent task for them to do? Their urgent task to sort the problems of, they have to give attention to the problems of the poverty, because people were poor. If people were poor, people are poor. Okay, people are poor. They have low standard of living, they have poor hygiene, they have no good health. Okay, and if they don't have good health, how they contribute in the growth or development of the country? So the main task and the urgent task before them was to solve the problems of poverty, malnourishment, okay, unemployment, because unemployment and poverty are related to each other. If a person is unemployment, so obviously he is poor. Okay, illiteracy, okay, lack of education systems, of lack of educational institutions, illiteracy, लोगों को awareness नहीं थी, they were not educated. And the basic amenities, okay, that a majority of the population face, they have to do the work for these problems. These were the basic challenges faced by the developing countries. So they argued that the reason why they were backward was because under colonial rule their resources had been used not for their own benefit, but for the colonial whoever but for the benefit of their colonial masters. Okay, and um, they always argued, and they were argue and discussed, and you can say debate this topic. We are backward just because under colonial rule most of our resources had been used. Okay, as you have seen, after Britishers came to India, our most of the resources, if you say iron, steel, iron, coal, and minerals, etc., most of them, most of the mining industries were happened to come. Okay, and they used our most of the resources. So most of the countries argued that under colonial rule our resources had been used by the colonial masters for their benefits. This is the main reason we are backward. Okay, so while independence, they could reorganize their resources in the best possible manner to serve their national interests. Therefore, it was now possible for them to formulate such policies which would allow them to overcome their backwardness and move towards achieving the standards of their former colonial masters. This provided the impetus for these countries to undertake development projects. Okay, so after independence, now they are able to reorganize their resources in whatever the best possible manner, and they to serve the national interest. And for the for the national interest, it directly means to people. Okay, so they formulate or they make different types of policies which would allow them to overcome these backwardness. They came with many policies and programs which would help them to overcome the challenges of poverty, hunger, education, illiteracy, etc. Okay, and move towards achieving the standards of their former colonial masters. So और अब जितने भी उनके former colonial masters थे, means जो whatever the country is whatever the country was ruling them, so they can compete with them also, okay, with these policies to overcome the problem of their country first. After that, they had to make them strong for what reason? For to compete with the colonial masters, and for to compete with the um, higher countries or richer countries. This provided the impetus for these countries to undertake development projects, and this was the uh, uh, this is the you can say motivation. impetus का meaning होता है motivation. ये एक motivation था इनके लिए कि we have to undertake these development projects, okay, to serve our national interest and to compete with our former colonial masters, okay. So these were some of the problems, the basic problems. Now, the concept of development has undergone many changes over the years. In the initial years, the focus was on catching up with the West in terms of economic growth and modernization of societies. Developing countries adopted goals like faster economic growth through industrialization, modernization of agriculture, and extending and modernizing education. It was believed at the time that the state was the only agency capable of initiating this kind of social and economic change. Many countries embarked upon ambitious projects of development, often with the help of loans and aid from the developed countries. Now, the concept of development, it has undergone, ठीक है, it has undergone with many changes. ठीक है, for some it is the growth or achieving the, just a minute beta. For some, it is the improvement in the lifestyle of the poor, and for some, it is the growth of the economy. For some, it is the it is the modernization of society. So, from the many years, the concept of development has changed. Okay, so developing countries adopted goals. What are the goals they adopted? The developing countries like India adopted the goals of faster economic growth through through the establishment of industrialization, modernization, as you all know, the green revolution, white revolution. These were the steps of modernizing agriculture, okay, extending and modernizing education. Various institutes were established to modernize or extending the education. Various types of policies for education established, okay, awareness programs were there. It was believed at the time that the state was the only agency capable of initiating this kind of social and economic change, and it was believed, okay, formally believed, that the country or the national state, okay, the central government, if we talk about India, we would say central government is the only one, only agency that can make this type of social and economic change in our economy. So various ambitious projects of development, many countries come up with various ambitious projects of development, and many countries use their resources, and many countries like taking loan from the richer countries, taking help from the richer countries or developed countries, and help and established industries, modernizing agricultures, modernizing education, etc. Okay, so uh, In India, a series of 5-year plans for development were made starting from the 1950s. And these included a number of mega projects such as Bhakra Nangal Dam, setting up steel plants in different parts of the country, mining, fertilizer production, and improving agricultural techniques. It was hoped that a multi-pronged strategy would have an impact on the economy and significantly increase the wealth of the country. And somehow whatever this is written here with these mega projects of Bhakra Nangal Dam and establishment of steel plants or mining and fertilizer industries, different modernizing agricultural techniques, etc. It make India, it makes India one of the strongest country. With these projects, we came up with the we became the strength of we became the strength of our people. Okay, so these 5-year plans worked very well. Okay, and it was hoped that a multi-pronged strategy, they came up with the idea and they hoped that this multi-pronged strategy, okay, we have multi-pronged how one side in one side we are developing the we are developing or we are constructing dam. It will help in you can say it helped in generating electricity for irrigation purpose. So it is helpful. Okay, water resources का use करते हुए कर रहे हैं ये project. After that, steel plants developed करेंगे. Obviously rural area आपका जमशेदपुर, झारखंड, उड़ीसा, छत्तीसगढ़ का area जो था वहाँ पे steel plants को जब establish किया, तो इससे many of the rural people got the job. Okay, minings also, in mining also they got the job, in fertilizer production also they got the job. So they are producing the resources, and mm, people are also got employed with these mega projects. Okay, and this multi pronged strategy, ठीक है, multi pronged का मतलब आप सबको पता है, with different areas. You can say multi pronged means different areas, working on different areas. Okay, so it was also hoped that the emerging prosperity would gradually trickle down. Okay, now what is this trickle down? It means it means they were hoping that this prosperity, this emerging prosperity would make us move to upper level from the lower down. Okay, trickle down का मतलब क्या है? जब हम ये जो सिचुएशंस है हमारी, लाइक पोवर्टी की, हंगर की, ये सारी चीजें बहुत एक्सट्रीम में थी ना, ठीक है, अटेंशन, बहुत ज्यादा अटेंशन देने की जरूरत थी, तो ये जो बहुत एक्सट्रीम से जब लोअर सिचुएशन में आने लगा, तो दिस सिचुएशन इज नोन एज ट्रिकल डाउन. ओके, to the poorest section of society and help to reduce inequality. Okay, so poorest section of society का में जो भी हम challenges देख रहे हैं, either it is of poverty, hunger, illiteracy, etc. ठीक है, अगर if we adopt these mega projects, then it will gradually reduce the inequality present in our society. So a great deal of faith was placed in adopting the latest discoveries of science and state of art technologies. Many challenges were seen. Okay, a great deal of faith was placed in adopting the latest discoveries. Our you can say our government was so much in the faith of the discoveries of science and the state of the art technologies, and on the same side they were facing challenges in adopting these discoveries. Okay, because it is not easy for the state to or you can say people of India to make themselves comfortable in the new discoveries. So new educational institutions like the Indian Institutes of Technology, now IIT, आज की डेट में IIT क्या importance रखता है, you all know. So this IITs were set up, and collaboration with advanced countries in order to have access to their knowledge became a top priority. uh, Relation of India with international markets became strong, and they have the access to their knowledge. ठीक है, they have the access, our people have the access to take the knowledge of different countries, richer countries, and it will become, sorry, it became our top priority कि we have to educate our people in the best possible way, and we make it the top priority. So it was believed that the process of development would make the society more modern and forward looking, and set it on the path of the growth. So the process of development, whatever the process of development and whatever the strategies we adopted, it would make the society modern, and we will obviously grow with these mega projects, with these strategies. Okay. So, however, the model of development adopted by India and other countries has come under a great deal of criticism over the years, and this has led to some rethinking about the goals and processes of development today. Okay, obviously कोई भी काम अगर, if whatever the work we whatever the strategy government came up with, if they have some kind of criticism, okay, they have to face some kind of criticism, and with these projects also they have to face, they are still facing the problems of criticism. Okay, and it is good somehow, because criticism make us improve ourselves. Okay, so we have to rethink about the goals, and what type of goals we want to achieve, and what type of development we want today. We have to change our goals accordingly, and our strategies accordingly. So these are the major challenges faced by the developing countries or the underdeveloped countries. Okay, so uh, there is a cartoon mentioned in this page, and this is designed by R.K. Lakshman. Okay, if this project comes up, we will be finished. Just look at this picture very carefully. What it is showing now, and what they are thinking after reading this. This is a newspaper. Okay, and they have read some news. Okay, maybe some project news, or you can say the dam. Government wanted to make a dam. Now these are some of the poor people, what they are thinking about: if this project comes up, we will be finished. Okay, now I you already aware about the example of the dam. You also you have read this in your class 10th economics, chapter 1, development. Okay, so just like that, this is an example, this is a cartoon mentioned here, and here the poor people, they are expressing their opinions or viewpoints, that if this project comes up, we will be finished, because maybe ये देखिए agricultural land लग रही है, तो हो सकता है कुछ ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट हो जो कि इस एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड में दे हैव टू मेक, गवर्नमेंट वांटेड टू मेक द इंडस्ट्री और डैम और व्हाट एवर थिंग. ठीक है, तब देखिए इट इज डेवलपमेंट. अगर हम ब्रॉडर सेंस में देखें तो इट इज अ प्रोग्रेस. ओके, बट इफ वी सी इन द नैरोअर सेंस, many people lost their livelihood. So that's why so this is the cartoon which is showing ki not every person is happy with the developmental project which is given by government, and which government come up by. Okay, so this is all about this cartoon. So class, this is all about today. Please read this topic carefully, and in our next class we will discuss about criticism of development models. Okay, please read this topic carefully, and if you have any problem, you can ask me. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the class.